My third guy plays some games.
Alright, hi everybody, Weather here. We're back with some more Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We're here to hear Graydon's account of what happened at the shooting of Windabank. So, some cross-examination time. It's the key thing we do in this game, you know? Let's get into it. Sorry, I'm a little bit teary-eyed because I had some hot chips, and then I had too much ice, and I got a head cold, and then I had a huge cough. I'm a mess. While these ruffians were jostling with the broker, I was still near the entrance to the shop. When Windabank threw Nash over the counter, I felt a sharp pain in my arm. I pursued the man, but he shut himself in the storeroom. I could see him through the peephole in the door, though. The accused, in a black coat, shot the man in the back as he was trying to flee to safety. I saw the blood spatter all over that wretched girl. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if she had much blood on her. Then she tossed the gun out of the peephole, so I picked it up and made my escape. Interesting. Dude, a lot of that I just read out loud didn't register with me. I have a bad habit of doing that, of reading things and not internalizing what I just read. You know what I mean? Sorry. But that's okay. We'll get there.
Good gracious, this is quite extraordinary testimony. You claim, sir, under oath, to have clearly seen the defendant pulling the trigger.
So our main thing is proving that that did not happen and that he's lying, of course.
Order, order, order.
It wasn't my intention to testify in this way. But neither is it my intention to be found guilty of a murder I didn't commit. So you see, my hand has been forced. I tell the truth now as an act of self-preservation. Truth? Until now, the prosecution was completely unaware of these details. Yes, well, sorry about that. Having shot me in the arm, the pawnbroker was then shot in the back by the accused. And as I said, she was showered in his blood. You say the blood spattered over the accused's coat. Are you sure on that point? Oh yes, quite sure. All over the black overcoat that pickpocket girl was wearing at the time.
Really? Her coat could somehow be shown to harbor vestiges of blood. That would be conclusive evidence here.
No, it could not. Because... So stupid. I'm so stupid. But, I feel like he could have been shot by someone else and she could have been nearby and got blood all over her, you know? Especially if the person shot from the peephole of the door, you know? Such an investigation is entirely possible, my lord. They're gonna send for the coat, I'm assuming? What? Only very recently, a German scientist has developed a technique to identify human blood. So here's to true science, not some amateurish detective's dubious foray into the world of chemistry. There's nothing dubious about Hurley's work. His ideas are all sound. Ideas are no use to us here. In science, as in law, theories must be proven before they stand. In Germany, the technique has already been employed in the courtroom as the basis of evidence. Scotland Yard has a small quantity of the chemical reagent used. With your lordship's permission. Didn't need a throw for this part. We could shatter all vestiges of doubt within minutes. This doesn't look good right now. Or not. Well, we note, don't we, that there's blood all over the front of Ginny's coat. They test it with their chemicals. Oh, help, you're right. I was forgetting what happened yesterday. Don't move, Ginny, I'm going to shoot. Yeah. Purple. Whose blood was purple? I forget. That's not Mr. Windibank's blood. That stain is from 2 months ago. That's Mr. Mason's blood from when he was stabbed by McGilded, who was wearing the coat at the time. My lord, the defense objects to the test proposed by the prosecution.
Overruled. Lord Van Zeeks, make it so at once.
Fantastic. With pleasure, my lord.
While we await the results, the defense may proceed with the cross-examination.
Alright, now we can get into it. Once they find that blood on the overcoat, Gina will be...
Counsel,
Yes, my lord.
your cross-examination.
Of course, my lord. This cross-examination doesn't go well. If I don't manage to uncover some decisive evidence or a really compelling clue now, I have a very bad feeling about the outcome of this trial. Alright. I feel like there's going to be a lot of holes here, but there's one issue, and I think we only have one mistake available, which is obviously not good.
Hold it!
Mr. Windibank emerged from the storeroom, I believe. Ringo and Nash were scouring the counter when he suddenly appeared and flew at them. He already had the revolver in his hand. Fortunately, I wasn't too close. I've never been so scared in all my life. Yeah, we were just here regular mild-mannered burglars, that's all. We didn't like violence. Says the pair who carry a gun. What do you mean when you say you were near the entrance to the shop? I was in the doorway, running my eyes over the shelves of forfeited items. For the music box, of course. The broker went for Nash in the first place. Then Ringo joined in, making it 2 against 1, so I assumed they could handle the situation. But I was wrong. I was trying to help me, little bro, but the old geezer chucked me over the bloomin' counter. So I pulled the gun on the old fella, and that soon made a scarpa.
Are you setting upon the poor defenseless pawnbroker together? Shame on you.
Sorry, Gav. Wouldn't bank through Nash. I felt a sharp pain in my arm. Okay.
Hold it!
You mean that's the moment you were shot? Yes, though I didn't immediately realize what had happened, of course. Things crashed to the floor from the counter as the 3 men were brawling. It was at exactly that moment that it happened, so I didn't hear the gunshot. The bullet went on to strike the calendar in the wall behind you. How could he have been shot at the same time that Windibank was doing the throwing? Unless Gina popped out and shot him. So it would appear. Or he's lying. When I looked at my arm, I saw it was bleeding badly, so I wrapped my handkerchief around it. Seeing as I couldn't explain what had happened to a doctor, I had no choice but to wait for it to heal. I didn't imagine it would still be bleeding 2 days later. Did Mr. Windibank intend to shoot you, do you think? Well now, I don't imagine he even noticed I was there, to be honest. Perhaps the gun went off accidentally. Anyway, it didn't quite strike home. When I pulled my gun on him, he tried to shove me out the way. And then he scuppered through that door out back.
At which point, what did you do?
Yeah. Pursued him, saw him through the peephole. You mean you chased after him? I don't recall the reason why, but I ran after him to the back of the shop. What about this peephole in the door you mentioned? Well, unsurprisingly, the storeroom door is a solid job, made of stout wood. There's a small opening about head height that lets you see what's in there from the outside. It straight up opens, though. Look at that. Actually, should know that, shouldn't I? I looked through it myself that night. Yeah. And what about you burgling brothers? Did you see what went on through this peephole as well? No, not likely, Guff. Didn't see nothing of that sort, Guff. I doubt these two buffoons were even aware of the peephole's existence. So the Skulkin brothers were there, but they didn't see the killing of Mr. Winterbank take place. Inside the storeroom, I could see the broker and that young girl standing there.
Defendant.
Yes, though neither of them noticed that I was looking. The girl raised her gun and pointed it straight at the man.
And then, what did you see next?
I think the big point of contention here is that she didn't have a gun on her. I mean, she had Mr. Winterbank's gun, but there wasn't another gun in the room, right?
And then, what did you see next?
Hold it!
Yes, when the crime was discovered, the defendant was found with a gun in her hand. But that was Mr. Winterbeck's gun, from which only a single bullet had been fired. And as we've already established, Mr. Graydon, that bullet was fired at you. But no, it wasn't the broker's gun that the pickpocket girl had when I saw her. Yes, the bullet from Winterbeck's gun grazed my arm, and yes, the Skulkin's gun grounded the detective. But this was another gun entirely, a third gun. We knew there was a third gun, but I think we suspect that Graydon has it. The broker's gun was not the murder weapon, so clearly there had to be a third firearm involved. In other words, the accused must have had her own gun with her at the time.
Objection.
But no other gun was found at the scene. Calm yourself, counsel. Sorry? You must consider the events in order. At first I saw the broker and the girl glaring at each other, but then, all of a sudden, the broker turned to run. It was at that moment that the little gutter rat shot him in the back.
A chilling image, I must say.
The issue is, he didn't fall in that direction. He fell facing into the room. I saw the blood spatter all over that wretched girl. All over her? Yes, through the peephole, I saw it clearly. Of course, the stains are invisible now, what with the coat being such a dark color. But I assure you that garment is sullied with the victim's blood. Well, it is sullied with blood, that's for sure. That's not Mr. Winterbank's blood, is it? No, that's right. It's Mr. Mason Milverton's blood from when McGilded stabbed him 2 months ago. So annoying. If they'd only accept Hurley's chemical analysis, we could prove that. They won't, so unfortunately we can't use it as evidence to support our case. Father. Last one. Then she tossed the gun out of the peephole, so I picked it up and made my escape. Yeah. Did I hear you correctly? She threw the gun out of the room? That's right. After the broker fell to the floor, she started walking over.
Over where exactly?
In the direction of the storeroom door, to where I was watching. Of course, I quickly retreated, and then the girl dropped the gun through the peephole onto the floor on my side of the door.
Why on earth would she do such a thing?
I couldn't tell you. Perhaps she was hoping to distance herself from the murder weapon. Without thinking, I went and picked it up. I suppose I was worried about just leaving it there in case any more tragedies took place. So it was you, in fact, who took the third gun from the scene of the crime? Yes, it was yours truly. I left the clear up to my lackeys and left. Clear up? We'd make a bit of a mess around the counter, so Mr. Whistler and Flutie had told us to tidy up. He thinks he's our bloomin' mum sometimes. Well, I was paying you enough, by God. Ugh. Tell me, Mr. Graydon, when you left the pawnbrokery that night, was it by any chance with the second disc in your jacket pocket? You're like a bull at a gate, aren't you? What is this?
Excuse me.
Gentlemen. Yeah. Something wrong, Sunshine? That should be my line. You do realize you were just violently shaking Mr. Skulkin? Blimey, this D's a bit of an hooligan, ain't he? What was going on just now? You saw him, he grabbed me whistle. Why the blazes, he said, didn't you mention the third gun when we got you down to the station? Why didn't you? 'Cause we didn't know nothing about it, or that flaming peephole in the door. Sorry about that. I can be prone to losing my rag sometimes. Not hurt, are you? It's interesting thing to bring up, that Gregson might have secret rage issues. Gore blimey, see the way he's looking at me? I'm telling you, this day gives me the willies. That was strange. Inspector doesn't normally get quite as worked up as that. He wouldn't normally grab someone. No, that wasn't like Gregsy at all. He's normally all sweetness and light, no matter what I say to him. Yes, well, I think he might be a special case, Iris. Well, anyway, that was definitely out of character. Gregson being suspicious once again. Requesting your lordship's permission to interrupt the cross-examination.
Explain yourself, officer.
I have the results of the test that was ordered earlier, my lord. Ah, the blood on the accused's overcoat.
Thank you, officer. Very well, the cross-examination is hereby temporarily suspended. I presume you have no objection, counsel.
No, my lord. Well, there you have it. The report, please, Inspector. Yes, sir. Traces of human blood were found in the overcoat of the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. From the extent of the stains, it would appear that they were the result of spattering following a gunshot wound. Interesting. That's interesting, because we know that the blood was not from a gunshot, it was from a stabbing. In the report.
Goodness me.
Notice that the Skulkin brothers weren't there anymore. That was interesting. See, what did I tell you? No, the blood on that coat is not Mr. Windibank's.
What on earth makes you say that, counsel?
The coat originally belonged to Magnus McGilded. Just before his coat was deposited at Windibank's, McGilded had fatally stabbed Mr. Mason Milverton. So the blood on the overcoat is the blood of the brickmaker from the omnibus case. They're going to interrupt and mention the gunshot part. Well, the Devet cannot speak. Isn't that right, my Nipponese friend? Sorry? 2 months ago, in this very courtroom, did you not argue fervently for McGilded's innocence? And yet now that the man is dead, you brand him as a murderer? Your conduct shatters any shred of respect you may have earned for yourself in this country. But that was... Oh, the bally disgrace. Treachery, that's what it is. Hang on, my phone vibrated. Okay, nothing important. Sorry. How to determine whether the blood on that coat is 2 months old or not? Even a stereoscope couldn't help the answer to that problem pop out. Can't be done. But, we used Mr. Schoen's specially formulated chemicals. Not a chemist. Would you put such faith in a chemical formula devised by me, for example, when I'm a communications officer? I held out pierogi to starving boy, and he ran away crying. Okay. Herlock Sholmes is barely more than a figment of the public's imagination. His name carries no weight in this courtroom, no weight at all. How could you say that? Victory is sweet indeed. This proves that my testimony is the whole truth from start to finish.
How do you arrive at such a conclusion, sir?
As the witness said, the accused's coat was spattered with the blood of the victim. The only way Mr. Graydon could possibly have known that fact is if he saw it happen. In other words, his testimony is solid and the conclusion is singular. It was the accused who shot the victim in this case. That is the whole truth. No, 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 no. Been a long battle this one, but oh no, here we go. Let's do another summation examination. Squadron has reached its final decision. Ready, men? All for one now?
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Terrible.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Not another summation examination. No. No. We didn't even get to present anything.
Well, it would appear the ladies and gentlemen of the jury have reached a unanimous verdict.
Oh, brother. The defense has consistently failed to unpick this witness's testimony. Here's to any attempt you may make at unpicking the jurors' decisions being equally successful. I don't believe it. After I've come so far, how's it all unraveling on me so fast? We got this. We got this. We'll be okay. Uh-oh, who's this? Who's this talking? Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Ryu? Who is that? Oh man, please be our detective buddy. In disguise.
Officer? You've delivered the report now. That will be all. Thank you.
It occurs to me with some regularity, Mr. Ryu, that scientific truths are determined not by science, but by none other than the human mind. I know that voice. Am I going mad? Come on, it's our boy. No way, it's Herlock Sholmes, actually. Let's go. Mr. Sholmes!
What is the meaning of this?
Oh, I love that.
Water.
What business do you have here, detective? Last I heard you were recuperating in hospital. As well I would be, had I not been set upon an errand. What errand? Early, it's really you. You're awake at last. Yes, good day, Iris. I appear to be rather late to rise. My apologies. Now, my lord, if you will humor me.
In what manner, sir?
I have something of great importance I wish to give to the young lawyer over there. I need no more than 5 minutes. Would you be so kind as to spare us the time?
What say you to this, Lord Van Zieks?
This trial is taking many hours of the court's time, having spent so long already. Exactly, I've been spent so long already, we don't want to waste anyone's precious time. As I was saying, having spent so long already, it would seem churlish to deny the defense a mere 5 minutes. And Van Zieks is okay sometimes. He's hard to get a read on, you know?
Very well then, counsel, you have 5 minutes.
And back in his regular clothes. My dear fellow, I apologize for my tardy arrival. Mr. Sholmes, are you alright now? Haha, la la la. Alright, I'm all wrong. Sorry? I've only just managed to summon the strength to stand, man. I asked the judge for 5 minutes. But I fear even that may prove too much for me. Pray forgive me, I should pass out. Well, let's make this discussion as short as possible. Really, this place is full of idiots. None of them can see how wonderful your chemical blood analysis is. Well, that concoction of mine was really just a bit of sport to assist me in my investigations. I never took the trouble to redefine it for appraisal by the scientific community. An oversight on my part. Right, modesty? Surely not. But enough of that. I'm here to give you this, my dear fellow. What's that, a lavender furoshiki wrapping? A leaving present from Miss Sasato. Miss Sasato? If possible, matters were to be settled without me giving you this. Those were her instructions when she asked me to do her this favor. I don't understand. Let's see what it is. Miss Sasato foresaw today's events, I believe. She knew that the culprit would attempt to escape justice by means both devious and underhand. And that you, Mr. Ryu, fighting fairly as you are wont to do, would find yourself in considerable peril. At that very moment of crisis, you were to be given this small parcel. That's very, very, very convenient. Those were the dear lady's instructions. Leaving present from Sasato. Whatever could it be? What is this? Oh, it's a machine I made. Ah. Okay. What does it do? Cat flap-a-mat. Okay. Why is that relevant? What's Susie up to? Miss Sasato muttered the following words before she left. I'm a failure. I don't deserve to be a judicial assistant. What? Didn't she say something like that? Aww. Because she's hiding something, I think. Whatever did she mean by that, Mr. Sholmes? That night, when he left Windibanks in pursuit of the thieves, Mr. Sato made use of this contraption for a certain... Oh! The people is a cat flap! That is your answer, dear fellow. Not at all cryptic, then. Sato used this cat flap-a-mat that night? But why? I know what she used it for. That means that Great Ace was lying. That means that the testimony given by Gina still makes sense as she shut the door after that happened. Interesting. Your 5 minutes is over. We're out of time already? I'm grateful to you for affording us that brief recess, Mr. Reaper. I need no thanks, Detective. After all, the die is cast. Is it really? The jurors are unanimous in their leanings. No doubt my learned friend will consider a summation examination. But any attempt to alter the verdict now would be utterly futile. I wonder... Mr. Ryu... Yes. The rest is down to you, dear fellow. What is your plan? The rest is down to me. I need to be careful here. If I make a wrong move, the trial will end badly. Further cross-examination? Further cross-examination. The jurors have spoken. Protocol dictates that you may not cross-examine a new witness now. The defense is not asking for the cross-examination of a new witness, rather to continue with one of an existing witness. What? It would appear that a rather important detail has escaped your attention, Mr. Reaper. Good. Yeah, he interrupted. Temporarily suspended. Uh-huh. So nobody can say anything then. Bruno asked to resume his cross-examination of Mr. Graydon. The court is obliged to allow it. This is absurd. Great, this is good. We don't have to do a summation examination.
I want to remind those present that this is my courtroom. I concur the defense is entirely within its rights to request a continuation of the cross-examination. However, I will not permit an unremitting protraction of these proceedings. Therefore, I have decided to afford the defense one final opportunity in concluding the cross-examination. Counsel, you must choose but one statement from the witness's testimony and but one piece of evidence to present in support of your argument against it.
Single chance to present evidence.
If following that the situation remains unchanged, I shall move to adjudication. Is that clear, counsels? You will not press the witness any further.
My lord. Yes, my lord. A single statement and a single piece of evidence. Most generous. We got this. Well then, Mr. Ryu, it's high time I fell in a dead faint. I leave this in your capable hands. Mr. Holmes. Great. He's fine.
To stand so insouciantly before the court in a state of such high fever, either the man has extraordinary strength of mind or an extraordinary lack of feeling.
I imagine he's feeling very little now. The detective is sleeping soundly in one of the antechambers. Strike a man when he's down, why don't you?
Well then, counsel, are you fully prepared?
Face slap time? Yes. One statement, one piece of evidence. Well, it was not face slap time. I won't let Mr. Sholmes down, or Iris. There it is. And I won't waste this final chance that Sasato has given me. This is going to decide the entire outcome of the trial.
Very well then, under the terms I have outlined, you may resume the cross-examination.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Not this one. Not this one. This one.
Objection!
There we go, easy.
What on earth is that eccentric contraption, counsel?
Oh, it's my clap-o-mat, my lord. It makes a way for cats to get in and out of a room. You can cut through any door you can think of, and make a new little door in the middle of it. That's right, my lord. It's a device for creating so-called cat flaps. Small doors for cats to come and go as they please without their owners having to open the main door. I'm sure we can all work that out for ourselves. But that cat lover's contrivance has no possible relevance to this case. Oh, really? Of course it doesn't. To start with, there was no cat flap in the pawnbroker's door.
Not being a keeper of cats myself, I'm afraid I fail to see what this has to do with the matter at hand.
Perhaps it would help if I described its function another way, then. This contraption is able to create a peephole in any door you can imagine in practically no time at all.
I beg your pardon? A peephole, you say?
2 nights ago, we arrived at the scene only minutes after the murder of Mr. Windibank had taken place. That's right. According to the paperwork at the yard, it was you, your Japanese assistant, and Sholmes. Yes, the 3 of us were together, and it's recently come to my attention that my assistant made use of this device at the time.
Your assistant did what?
There was a peephole in the storeroom door. I can attest to that. Because I looked through the peephole myself in order to see inside the locked storeroom. This is ludicrous. What are you trying to say? Of course there was a peephole in the door. I said as much in my testimony. How else could I have witnessed the crime, for pity's sake? Yes, how could you? Exactly. What?
Counsel, kindly say what you mean.
Alright, it's time. Time to strike the final blow. What I mean is this, my lord. My assistant made the peephole in the storeroom door. Until such time as she did, the door had no hole in it to look through. What? No! There we go. Checkmate, baby.
Objection.
This is a farce. Are you really suggesting that the peephole in the door was... Yes, it was created only after the incident had taken place by my judicial assistant using this device.
Your assistant tampered with the crime scene whilst being fully aware of the gravity of her actions. That is the most serious act of vandalism.
For which I humbly apologize, my lord. It was in the few minutes that I left the scene in order to pursue the Skulker brothers and alert the police. Nevertheless, in the light of this new information, it becomes apparent that Mr. Graydon's testimony is riddled with holes.
Riddled with... Explain yourself, counsel.
The majority of Mr. Graydon's testimony that appears to incriminate the defendant is based upon what he witnessed through the peephole in the storeroom door. Yes, that filthy girl shooting the man in the back. However, if at the time of the incident, that peephole did not yet exist in the door, there's no possible way that you could have seen what you claim to have seen. In short, your entire testimony is a pack of lies. There we go, we got him. Dead to rights, baby.
Order, order, order. Is there any credence in this revelation?
Objection!
None whatsoever, as my learned friend must surely realize. Exactly. This is just some cheap trick designed to discredit me. I'm afraid not, sir. Of course it is. Do you seriously expect people to believe that plaything can cut through a solid wooden door? Oh yes, I designed it to be very powerful. It can cut through even the toughest of doors. That's absurd. I don't believe it for a second. I had a feeling you'd say that. What? She made one in the courtroom? Lovely. Perfect. Well?
Young lady, this is the Old Bailey. One does not make cat flops in the oak paneling at the Old Bailey.
I'm not done yet, don't worry. This doesn't mean that the peephole in the storm door at Window was made by your machine. And there's no way you can prove that it was. I know. The picture, right? No peephole. No peephole. We overlooked it. It's easy. What? Cat flaps my cat flap crates are all of a fixed size. That too. And the dimensions of the people at Window are an exact match. Old Silky's lost for words. Excellent work, Iris. Thank you. And now it's my learned student's friend's turn to be lost for words, I feel. I believe your judicial assistant has already left the country for your Eastern Island home. Well, yes, that's true. Then you may have some difficulty in establishing all of the facts. For the sake of argument, let us assume the people has dimensions that are a perfect fit for this contraption. In that case, when was the people cut? Prosecution demands proof of your answer.
What is the purpose of your line of inquiry, Lord Van Zees?
Let me look again at this, because it's in the second picture. Look, you can see in the second picture. Not in the first picture. We got it. It's very simple, my lord. The defense argues that the peephole was created after the incident using this device. But now that the perpetrator has returned to her native land, she cannot testify to the fact. There is no proof. And for as long as the defense remains unable to prove when the peephole was made, my learned friend's claim amounts to nothing more than a baseless accusation. We have proof.
Indeed, that is so, Lord Van Zeeks. Well, counsel?
Don't give up now, Bruno. This is the time to create your own opening and force your way through. I don't know if I can do this, but I do know one thing. Sato is the greatest judicial assistant in the world.
Very well, the counsel for the defense will present evidence to support the claim made.
I will do the first picture. Yeah.
Take that!
What are you... A print from that detective's infernal cameras again. My judicial assistant, Mrs. Sato Mikitoba, is an extremely intelligent and capable woman, which is why I never had any cause to doubt that she would have considered this scenario and made sure I had the necessary proof.
The necessary proof is this photographic print, counsel.
This print shows a scene in the shop moments after the defendant entered the premises. Agreed. And it also shows the accused mercilessly wielded a gun in the direction of the defenseless broker. But more to the point, it pictures the storeroom door in the background.
Let me see that print again. I don't believe it. This really is quite remarkable. The door to the storeroom is completely devoid of a peephole of any description.
Mr. Graydon, you couldn't possibly have witnessed the crime as you claim to have done, because at the time it happened, there was no peephole in the door. In other words, your testimony, the spin, is a catalog of lies. There we go. Good stuff, good stuff. Here it comes. Fantastic. Fantastic. Wrecked. Feels good.
Order. I am satisfied the defense has substantiated its claim beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness's testimony was entirely fallacious.
That's not the only thing we now know beyond all reasonable doubt. My learned friend's assistant's guilt can no longer be denied. The woman tampered with the crime scene. But more importantly,
Good lord, there's more, Lord Van Zeeks.
the defense may have established a reprehensible instance of perjury. But that is no proof that this man is the victim's killer. Yes, that's right. What? I was there at the scene, it's true. And I was shot in the arm, it's true. That's all. Yes, in fact, if you look at the circumstances, I am the victim here. Oh, please, no. I don't believe this. They're right. As it stands now, I don't have any definitive proof that he is the culprit. Still, he can't worm his way out of it now. Iris? You know what they say. Again, now we have proof that the gun couldn't have been hers. Gina's. Because there's only one gun found in the room. There's no point locking the cat's door after the cat has bolted. Isn't that right, Bruno? As Hurley always says, one lie begets another. No, wait, that might have been a line I wrote for him in one of my stories. Well, no matter who said it first, you're right. Mr. Graydon, not only did you give false testimony to the court, the lies you told make no sense. Make no sense? What do you mean by such a remark? What you said in your testimony reveals that you know something you shouldn't have known. In other words, there is a fundamental inconsistency in your statements. What?
Objection!
This is provocative talk, counsel. Won't you enlighten the court? Explain this alleged inconsistency. I actually don't know what he's talking about. Iris was right. One lie begets another. Inconsistency is revealed by the lies in the witness's statements. They show something he shouldn't have known anything about. Namely... The bloodstains on the coat? You should have known about the third gun, right? Maybe? Yeah, because I already knew there was 2 shots. We already talked about the third gun. The bloodstains on the coat was a new information. The bloodstains that were present on Miss Lestrade's coat. That's right, the victim's blood spattered all over her when she shot him. How could you possibly have known that? Obviously, because I saw her do it through the people in the... Got him. The point is not that you lied in your testimony, Mr. Graydon. It's the nature of the lie you concocted that is so revealing. You're not making any sense. Let me ask you a simple question. How is it, Mr. Graydon, that you knew of the existence of the peephole in the storeroom door? What? Well, obviously Yeah. Oh, we could have given both answers, huh? There was 2 right answers for this one.
Has a cat got your tongue, witness?
The peephole in the door was made after the incident occurred. Once I returned to the shop having failed to catch the 2 burglars, Scotland Yard's investigators arrived immediately. Since that time, the police have been at Windybanks constantly carrying out their investigation. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson? Well, yes, of course. The place is chock full of pawned articles and my lads have to thoroughly examine them all. So I gave the order to have officers working around the clock in shifts so we get through it all. Consequently, there's no way that you, Mr. Graydon, could have gained access to the shop. Therefore, you should have known nothing about the peephole in the storeroom door. So the fact that its existence forms the basis of your testimony is completely inexplicable.
Objection!
Yeah. And yet, the fact remains Mr. Graydon did maintain that he witnessed the crime take place through the peephole in the door.
How on earth is that possible?
Could I have a word, please, Lord Van Zeeks? Speak, Inspector. It's just that I really ought to be getting back to the station now to put in my report. There's really nothing more I can add to this testimony if it's all the same to you. Permission denied. Oh. That's not all the same to me, Inspector. Not at all. You will remain exactly where you are until this trial concludes. Of course, sir. Mr. Graydon, you shouldn't have known about the existence of that peephole. Which can only mean that you must have been informed about it by somebody else.
Objection!
So true. Stop there, my learned friend. You realize, I trust, that the words you just uttered have extremely serious implications. Yes, but the defense believes that the details about the case that Mr. Graydon claims to have seen must have been revealed to him by a certain person before his testimony. And in fact, considering a particular clue we have, there's really only one person that could be.
Who is the person in question, counsel?
It's definitely Gregson.
Take that!
Truth is, it can only have been you, Inspector Gregson. Me?
Objection!
Are we wrong? You had better have some proof to substantiate such a rash claim, my learned friend. Consider the fact that we have only been aware of Mr. Ashley Graydon's identity for the last few hours. We learned of it only during the course of the trial today.
Indeed, preparations for his testimony were made with great urgency during our hour-long recess, while the police executed the subpoena and brought the man here from the communication station.
And until that time, Mr. Graydon would have had no idea. No inkling that he would suddenly be required to appear in court.
Are you suggesting that until such time as he was summoned?
Yes, my lord. Until then, it's reasonable to assume you knew nothing of the peephole. It was only once Mr. Graydon was in the stand that he realized his position, that he would have to defend himself against the accusation that he was the third intruder. You're suggesting to the court that it was while this trial was in progress that he received the information, so that he could commit perjury in order to save his skin? Exactly. And the only person with knowledge of the investigation that he had any contact with is you, Inspector Gregson. This is a bloomin' outrage. Why would I be giving away details of our investigation to this fella, eh? I was summoned to his lordship's chambers during the recess in any case. Had you forgotten that? It's whenever they were negotiating during the trial.
Quite true. I had a number of questions regarding the events that transpired at the pawnbrokery.
Which means the first time these two laid eyes on one another was after proceedings resumed following the recess. Since then, they've been in full view in the stand, where such illicit discussions couldn't possibly have occurred. Oh, I've just remembered something, Ryuno.
What is it, Iris?
There was one time before, wasn't there? I think it was when Ginny was testifying.
Oh, yes, now you mention it.
When the bailiff was dispatched to retrieve McGillicud's music box from the scene of the crime. That's it. It was during that testimony. I remember finding it strange at the time. Mr. Gray and the inspector seemed to be having some kind of secret discussion. Yeah. It would have been possible for you to give Mr. Gray the information he needed then. You little toe rag, you're making all this up. I'm a respectable Scotland Yard inspector, for crying out loud. Why would I do something like that? Why would I be giving away confidential details to the likes of this bloke? Admittedly, you wouldn't have had any reason to do something like that for no gain. But perhaps it was part of a deal of some kind, and it starts to make more sense. What deal, Counsel? I wonder if perhaps, in exchange for details about the people at the crime scene, Miss Gray agreed to give a certain something to the inspector. I bet it was the other disc.
I'm sure I need not remind the inspector that if found to be true, striking a deal of any kind with a witness would be considered a gross case of malfeasance.
Why?
Objection!
This is good. We're making good progress. It's becoming clear that jumping in with accusations is a Nipponese student's specialty. I don't do that. But with the stakes so high, the prosecution is not prepared to listen to baseless charges. It is incumbent on the defense now to present evidence in support of this diabolical claim. Evidence? Just what are you proposing that the inspector demanded of the witness in return? Court must see proof of this alleged deal. Inspector Gregson really did strike a deal with Mr. Graydon, and logically there's only one thing he could have asked for. That must be it. Ryuno, do you think it could be... Yes, it's the missing link that would join all the dots together in this puzzle.
I must press you for an answer now, Counsel.
Oh man. Is it the other disc? It must be the other disc, right? Let me look at the newspaper again, exactly what it says on the back. Uh-huh. Maybe that's it. I think it's either that or just saying the other part of this, you know? I'm gonna do this.
Take that!
Yes! Inspector Gregson, besides this murder, is it not true that you've been working on another very important case? I think the newspaper would have worked too, actually. What are you getting at now, Sunshine? Is it possible that this other top-secret case is what's alluded to in this newspaper article here? The classified secrets being leaked overseas from the Ministry of Justice. How the bleeding Nora could you? You discovered during the course of this trial the music box deposit window banks by Magnus McGilden. Special music box designed to play 2 discs at once. It seemed very likely now that encoded on the pair of discs that were in Miss Gilden's possession are the leaked classified secrets. So they can know what was leaked. So I put it to you, Inspector, that in order to recover the second of the disc containing those secrets, You covertly made a deal with Mr. Graydon in which you exchanged the disc for details of the case. You little... There we go. I hate that Gregson's doing bad things. It makes me sad. On the day of the incident, when we met you at Windibanks, you said this. I'll be taking that whatever it is on McGill is down to the yard, thank you very much. So hand it over. Yeah. I'm sorry, miss, but anything belonging to McGill has to be taken in as evidence now. Fantastic. Good stuff. Scotland Yard already knew at that time, isn't that right? That Magnus McGill was involved in the stealing of the government secrets. My orders were recover the medium used to convey the secrets leaked from the ministry, and do it on the QT, strictly hush-hush. And that explains why, when I presented this disc as evidence to the court, you objected so heavily, I presume. Because you knew that it contained highly confidential information. Well, I mean, not likely. I mean, I wasn't that sure of it myself. I realized there was a possibility, that's all.
Inspector, surely you're not saying that in order to acquire the second of these music box discs, you did indeed reveal confidential details of the crime scene to the witness. To aid and abet this man in giving false testimony.
There's no other way that Mr. Graydon could have known of the existence of the two people. It's the only explanation. A deal was struck between these two men. There we go. Huge.
Objection!
If, and I stress if, this sobering assertion turns out to be founded in truth, it would mean that the second disc is as we speak here in this very courtroom. Wait, what? In this room? How could you possibly make a claim like that? Because Inspector Gregson is a Scotland Yard detective. What? What's that supposed to mean, eh? As a seasoned policeman, the inspector will have approached this alleged deal with caution. Certainly he would not have accepted a gentleman's agreement in this matter. No, he would have insisted on having the article agreed upon in the palm of his hand.
Good gracious, then, you mean to say Inspector Gregson already has the item in question in his possession? He has the second disc actually on his person!
Yes!
The defense demands that the inspector is searched at once. Definitely. They could only have struck a deal with each other when Guinea was testifying before. Grexy hasn't moved from the witness stand since. My lord, please, order an examination of his personal effects immediately.
Well, Inspector?
Do the right thing. This young lad wants to tone down his imagination. He's insulted me and my profession quite enough. Oh no. However, if he'll put this matter to bed and dispel any doubts about my involvement, then I'll happily submit to a body search. What? He's going to agree to it? Idea. Gregson is letting this happen because it's not on him. Passed it over. Maybe he foresaw something like this happening, but I think he might have passed it over to the taller Skulkin brother when he was having him by the collar. I presume you're aware of the precipice on which you now teeter, my learned student friend. You made a most serious allegation against Scotland Yard here. If, following the search of the inspector's personal effects, no disc is found, you will be deemed unfit for court service. This trial will end, and my country's government will formally demand of yours that you are severely reprimanded. Sounds serious.
Indeed, to have a visiting student make such defamatory remarks about a country's most senior police force is not something Her Majesty's government will be able to overlook.
You're just threatening Ryunosuke because you're scared. The accusation is beyond serious. You must be prepared for grave consequences. It's true. I can't imagine Gregson would have accepted a gentleman's agreement for something so critical. This must have physically changed hands. Choosing the inspector should have it. Somehow, something doesn't feel quite right here.
Very well, counsel. You know the implications, so let me ask you one final time.
Yes, my lord.
You used to...
Search someone else. Yes, the defense formally demands a search be conducted.
Well,
Don't say you weren't warned, but your typical Nipponese stubbornness may well land you in hot water this time. Perhaps the lesson will do you some good. Fair enough, I've got nothing to hide.
very well then. Bailiff, conduct a search of the inspector's personal effects.
The defense demands a search, but not of Inspector Gregson. What? Now what's all this? I'm the one you're accusing, aren't I? I thought you wanted to search me. No, Inspector, not you. Somebody else. What's meanwhile, say, lost it at last, have you, sunshine? The court shouldn't have to put up with this nonsense. You're being completely irrational. Yeah, I feel good about this now. Oh, Bruno's doing what you all told him to do and having the courage of his convictions. So you should respect that and listen to what he has to say in good faith. Because that's the British way. Yeah.
Well said, young lady. Indeed, this court is in awe of the defense counsel's conviction and eagerly awaits his next words.
You what? No, don't be hasty, my lord. I'm not mistaken about the things I've seen in court today. I'm fairly sure that I know who has that disc at the moment.
Take that!
Nailed it. Called it immediately. Of my lord, Mr. Nash Skulkin.
Well, I never.
Me? Him?
Very well then, bailiff. Restrain the witness and conduct a thorough search of his personal effects.
Please, my lord.
Inspector.
Scotland Yard, has to object to the search.
Objection!
Unfortunately for you, Inspector, your objections carry no weight here. In this courtroom, only the prosecution and the defense have the authority to object. But Lord Van Zeeks, I have no idea what forces are in play that might influence your actions. But personally, I have no intention of obstructing the course of this trial. We did so good.
Bailiff, carry out the search.
There we go. Now, hold on a moment. I don't know nothing. Nothing about no disc. Cut it out. Fantastic.
Here, my lord, in the witness's pocket. I found this. Good lord, that's...
Another music box disc. I don't know nothing about it. Nothing. There we go. There we go. That is the second music box disc left behind by Mannix McGilded. Is it not, Inspector Gregson? Man, are they just all bad guys up there? What if he actually is the third Skulkin brother?
Mr. Skulkin, what have you to say for yourself?
Gordon Bennett, I mean just Gordon Flamin' Bennett. I swear I didn't know nothing about that disc, honest to God.
Counsel, would you please explain what exactly is going on here? The alleged deal that was struck between this witness and this detective, no?
Without question, my lord.
Then, for pity's sake, why on earth was this man in possession of the disc that the inspector traded for information?
Inspector Gregson is a shrewd, calculating man who rarely loses his composure. But at one particular point in this trial, he exhibited some unusual behavior for a brief moment.
I don't recall. What unusual behavior?
It was, yes, during my cross-examination of Mr. Graydon. Yeah, that when he was choking him out, like we said. We're killing it today. No mistakes, feeling good. Wow, that's a weird image. The inspector appeared to have grabbed Nash Skulkin by his coat and was shaking him violently. Yeah, you did it all. Thought me noggin was gonna fall clean off, I did. I was wishing I'd been born as me brother, I was. And what exactly happened to make the detective attack you like that? I ain't got a clue. He just suddenly turned and grabbed me, whistled like that, and started shaking me. Why the blazes didn't you mention the third gun when we got you down the station? That's what he said. Yelled it right down my ear, all he did. Me head's still throbbing now. The way the detective behaved then was extremely out of character. But looking back now, it must have been then that he did it. That was the opportunity Inspector Gregson created for himself in order to hide the disc.
Well, bless my wig, he hit it. You. But I'm afraid I failed to comprehend the motive here. The detective had acquired the disc he was after. Why on earth would he then proceed to hide it in another man's pocket? This is a court of law. He could have submitted the item as evidence.
It would appear, my lord, that the inspector was not at liberty to do that.
Whatever, not.
As the man himself revealed earlier, his current assignment has some special conditions. Yep. Cover that medium. Keep it on the hush-hush.
Hush, hush. A top secret assignment, is it?
As far as we're aware, the information stolen comes from confidential government communications. It would seem that if that information would be revealed in court as evidence, it would be problematic. Does that sum up the situation, Inspector? I'm operating under direct orders from the Ministry. I'm afraid I'm not at liberty to answer that question. So, realizing there was a chance that you may be searched here in court, you took steps to hide the disc you had acquired from the witness.
Oh, does this mean...
You only pretended to attack Mr. Skokie in order to get close enough to him to slip the second disc into his pocket.
It was all a pretense?
Yep. Easy.
Well now, Inspector Gregson. And you, Mr. Graydon. Are you prepared to admit to the accusation made against you of this alleged deal?
So good. Admit to it, yours truly, please.
Mr. Graydon?
Clearly our Eastern visitor has an uncommonly active imagination. However, there is no proof that I passed that disc to the inspector.
Objection!
But then, how do you explain the reason why you knew about the peephole? I'm under no obligation to explain.
What?
Yes, I lied in my testimony. That I admit, so sentence me accordingly. But that is all I admit. Murder, leaking government secrets, striking a deal with a detective, all of it is this young Eastern man's fancy. I have no idea what any of that is about. You... what? Dude, this denies it to the very end. It's crazy. He's so annoying. Well, what about you then, Inspector Gregson? You admit to making a deal with Mr. Graydon in order to acquire the disc? Come on, do the right thing. Ladies and gents of the jury, as Scotland Yard Inspector, I will declare this and nothing more. I am acting in the best interest of the country. Whatever I've done, it's been in the name of justice. So, as members of the public of this fine country, I'd like to think that justice will be your guiding light when you're making your decisions. He's gonna admit it, right?
This is quite a quandary indeed. Rarely have I encountered such extraordinary tumultuousness in the concluding of a trial. Nevertheless, in the absence of any further evidence to be presented, I believe it is time that we put the matter to the jury for their final leadings.
Well, now, as a fellow servant of Queen and Country, I must say I sympathize with the old Inspector. Yes, he's a dependable man, I'm quite sure. In service, one becomes a good judge of character. Even crossing your eyes doesn't help when it comes to looking at this case. It's all blurred to me.
Well, as a fellow professional, I'd like to put my faith in the detective, really.
Rated as highly skilled operator, stop. Currently in presence of idol, stop.
Detective has very much trust in eyes. More than this, I cannot say.
I don't believe it. The 6 jurors they're gonna believe Gregson. They declare the decision now. Isn't he gonna be found guilty? I don't manage to produce some definitive evidence right now, then we're gonna lose. I have some proof that Graydon killed Mr. Windemaker, stole those government secrets. Or some evidence to force Gregson into admitting that he struck a deal with a witness.
Well then, counsel, I think it's time I impose on the jurors to declare their final decisions, no? That is, unless you have some compelling evidence that you have thus far not presented to court.
I'll let the judge call on the jurors to announce their leanings. Gino will be found guilty. So there's no choice then, Ryuno. We have to throw some more evidence at them. This is it now. It all comes down to this. Oh, God. Oh, man, I don't even know. We're also way over time for this video. What evidence do we have? Third bullet. Uh-huh. What else do we have? Look at this again. Yep. Nothing else new here. Man. There's a crime scene photograph, that's pretty good. Or this map. Man, I kinda like doing... Oh, we don't have a photo of the crime scene with no weapon though. This is tough. I'm gonna look at these again. That was also Mason's, yeah. Anything here? Why is this here? Why is this evidence? We just looked at this. Nothing new here. Shot in the back. I think I might do the floor plan. You know? I might do that. Or... Man, it would suck if we were wrong, though. We're gonna lose some time, maybe. But I think I'm gonna go with, the floor plan photo that shows he was shot in the back. Right here. That doesn't seem decisive enough, you know? I'm gonna go with it. So who do we... Graydon or Gregson? What evidence would we have against Gregson? That's very curious. Let me look at this again. Nothing there? What could we use for Gregson? Not this ticket, I don't think. Sorry, I'm taking a lot of time on this one. I want to try to get it right. This is hard. Man, it's the third gun that's getting me. Huh. None of this evidence is actually against Graydon or Gregson, though, as far as I can tell. At the very least, it just like exonerates Gina, right? But I mean, that's what we want, but that's not what it's asking me. I think I'm gonna go with this though. Mr. Graydon, there is one final piece of evidence I would like you to see. You misguided fool. Whatever you intend to show me now, you'll be wasting your time. I have nothing left to lose. I assure you I will admit to nothing. This is my last chance. It looks like I'm gonna have to force his hand here. Oh man, I don't know about this. Evidence to make him admit he struck the deal. I don't know. I think I'm gonna... Man, I don't know. This is really hard. I feel like I'm gonna get it wrong. I'm gonna go with this.
Take that!
It's wrong.
What on earth is this, Counsel?
Irrefutable proof, my lord, of the corrupt dealing... Oh, no. Or perhaps... irrefutable proof of the corrupt workings of my learned friends. We lost. We lost. We lost. I knew we were gonna lose. Man. Oh, no. Oh, no. How far back do we go? How far back do we go? How far back do we go? We're so far into this video, too. Oh, no. That's disappointing. I don't like reading this part out loud. It makes me sad. I don't want to do that. I want to just let it happen, you know? Disappointed.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty, guilty, guilty.
Guilty.
Sad day. Hope you're all doing great, by the way. This has been a long one. Holy moly. Do we try to get past this? I think I said, well, let me see how far back I am. So if I'm super far back, I'm just going to call it. We'll see. I don't know. We're already way over time today. You know? Sad. Alright, how far back? From the scene? Okay. Maybe I should save right before I do that part, you know? Oh, okay, we're right here. Oh, it is... We can do it with him. Okay, okay, okay. Alright. Let me try the music box. Maybe we just use that. Right? Maybe there's information on there. I don't know.
Take that!
It was just a music box the whole time.
Is that Mr. McGillis' peculiar music box, Counsel?
Yes, with the disc already in place ready to play. I think perhaps now would be a good time to listen to the sound produced by the music box again. Only this time... I thought we weren't supposed to do both, though. Because of confidentiality. Well, the second disc we just discovered set in place as well.
Goodness, this disc, Counsel?
No, wait, I can't let you do that. Why not? But because, well, because it's got nothing to do with this case. That's why.
Objection.
Not true, Inspector. The defense has already proposed that the sounds heard by the court earlier from this music box were part of a Morse code message. Yeah, I guess we just proved that the disc is relevant, right? We know that Morse code comprises of two distinct tones. The defense believes that the second disc contains a second tone needed to complete the message. Now we have a chance to confirm that theory. Crying out loud, Sunshine, we're talking about state secrets here. You go letting the whole courtroom hear confidential information like that, it's treason. And do you admit the charge? And in order to protect those state secrets, you engaged in unlawful dealings with the witness? You're mad. If you let that secret information out into the public domain, you'll be making an enemy of the entire British government, you idiot. Playing chicken with him. Let's not forget, Inspector, that you, a Scotland Yard officer, leaked confidential case details to a witness. That you continue to lie to the court, and all because by fair means or foul, you are determined to do your duty. Well, by fair means or foul, I'm prepared to do mine. Don't you dare. I will stop at nothing to protect my client. I don't care who I make an enemy of. Yeah, what a god. What a great line. My lord, if you please. The court must hear the sounds made by that music box. Come on, Van Zeeks, for Pete's sake, stop him.
Objection!
Yes, the foot. Inspector, you should know my methods by now. I'm a prosecutor. I'm no Scotland Yard puppet. Ugh. In this courtroom, my duty is to the law, so let me propose a toast to uncovering the truth, by fair means or foul. There we go.
Very well, the defense's stance here and that of the prosecution has been made very clear, I feel. Therefore, in accordance with the defense's request, the court will now listen as this music box is set in operation once more. This time with the second disc in place and both discs playing simultaneously.
Come on, Gregson's not going to stop it? And admit things? No? Yeah. Morse code. Alright, I admit it. Whatever you want. But for the love of God, shut that blooming box up. There we go. There we go. We did it. Look at the silence. So good. Let me ask you again then, Inspector Gregson. Did you, or did you not, strike a deal with the witness next to you on the stand, Mr. Ashley Graydon?
Specifically, did you furnish the witness with confidential case details in exchange for this music box disc? Did you reveal the existence of the peephole in the pawnbroker's storeroom door, Inspector?
I did. Stop, what are you doing, man? It's all exactly like the young Eastern lawyer said. When the trial resumed after the recess and when we were stood here in the stand together, that's when he approached me with the deal. Shut up, you imbecile. Shut up! We got him.
It's you there. You're the detective who turned up at the pawnbroker the other day, aren't you?
I may have something you're looking for, Inspector, with me at this very moment. So how about a trade? I suggest you accept. More information that may make certain individuals uncomfortable will soon become very public indeed. That was, of course, great in talking to Gregson. I couldn't let that information become public knowledge, not under any circumstances. So I accepted the man's proposal and told him details about the case that should have put him in the clear. Peephole in the storeroom door, and the bloodstains on the overcoat. By giving false testimony, this witness intended to have the defendant wrongly accused of murder. Inspector, you knew that, yet you still revealed those details to facilitate the witness's perjury. Man, those state secrets are tough. I did. Then it turned out the people had only been made that night after the incident took place. Scotland Yard wasn't aware of that, if I'm perfectly honest. Well, Mr. Graydon, what do you have to say for yourself? There's nothing, and no one left for you to hide behind. You struck a deal with the inspector in order to escape conviction of a very serious crime. Namely this. You are the third intruder who broke into the pawnbroker on the night in question. And you perpetrated the murder of the proprietor, Mr. Pop Windabank. You. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. Did he just kill Gregson?
Very left! Restrain that man! At once!
Did we do it? That's it then. It's all over. right? We did it? I despised my life growing up. Those slums were vile places. Oh, this is graded. I was cursed from birth, born into poverty, the son of a penniless artisan. My parents did nothing but quarrel all day long. What little money they had was never spent on me. He's trying to make a sympathetic story. All gross. So I set about studying to better myself, to one day escape from that hellhole.
When you eventually became a communications officer, I admire your determination.
Then you decided to try to sell government secrets? Why? Oh god, not the sad puppy eyes. Isn't it obvious? Because I wanted money. Even now, years later, the nightmares of my life in the slums wake me in the small hours. I wanted to drown them out with more money than anyone who lived in that squalor could ever imagine. Then one day I met him. Mr. Magnus McGilded. You're a fiend with a queer talent, so you are. I have money to throw your way if you're interested. All you need to do is go along with me little plan now. I was to steal the ministry's telegraphic message logs, and McGilded would buy them for a handsome sum. I was responsible for inspections of the ministry's communications office. It was a simple enough task. The lure of the devil's offerings, how easy it is to succumb.
But you must surely have realized the seriousness of the crime you were committing.
And for that reason I took great lengths to ensure that my actions were untraceable. By using the music box. My father was a brickmaker, though my mother divorced him when I was still a child. Yes, Mr. Mason Milverton. We still don't know what happened to McGilded, by the way, with his death. That's right, he was very skilled with his hands. He'd once been a music box maker's apprentice. I imagined his skills would be sufficient to create a machine that would generate Morse code. So I sought out my father again, to employ his services. It was the first time I'd seen him since I left the slums 10 years earlier. Lovely.
Look at you, Ashley. What a fine gent you've become, eh?
He was a different man to the one in my memory, a thin, frail old man. But poverty had never broken him, never corrupted him like it had me. I was sure that he wouldn't help me if I told him the real reason, so I made up a story. Got some work for you, Father. I need some music box discs made.
Music box disc, eh? A musician friend of mine has written some music he wants to sell to the public. I brought the score with me. There are two, actually. I'd be delighted, son. Oh, shit. I'd be delighted, son. It's been 20 years since I did any work like this, though. Fetch my tools, would you? They're in the loft. That's how I had to make the two discs. Thereby splitting the information in two, you were taking considerable precautions indeed. It was to protect myself as much as anything. It meant that I could deal with McGilded in two separate transactions. The first involved the first of the two discs and the music box for playing them. I exchanged them with McGilded for 10 guineas. Then on receipt of the second disc, he would pay 1,000 guineas. So what happened on the omnibus 2 months ago? Was the second part of a deal? The exchange of the second disc? Yes. That all makes perfect sense. I'd sold the man information that way a number of times already, but it seems he became reluctant to part with his money. That doesn't quite make sense, Mr. Graydon. But why was it that on the omnibus 2 months ago, your father, Mr. Milverton, was the one dealing with Mr. McGilded and not yourself?
When I received the 1,000 guineas after my first completed dealings with McGilded, I decided to give 200 to my father for his troubles. When my father realized something was amiss, in time he worked out that I must be involved in something dubious. When he did, he said to me,
Next time there's an exchange, you'll let your old man do it, understand? Otherwise, I won't take your money anymore.
Makes sense. That was my father's way of dealing with it, I suppose. Climb into the omnibus, hand over the second disc, and take the money from McGilded, that's it. He had no idea what was actually on the disc I'd had to make. He never knew. Just like I'll never know why everything went so horribly wrong that night. All I know is that the disc was taken from him, and he never returned home. It was only then that I found out what sort of a monster McGilded really was. So after 10 years of not once uttering it, I swore on my father's name. Did he kill him? To exact revenge. Revenge? There we go. As anyone with even the remotest knowledge of the man will no doubt be able to imagine, McGilded brought all his wealth and influence to bear in the most despicable of ways. To crush any semblance of justice in his trial. The crime scene was tampered with, evidence was fixed, and witnesses were bribed. That trial 2 months ago was a farce from start to finish. I barely touched British soil back then. I walked into that hornet's nest completely unaware of the sinister background to it all. I had made plenty of money out of my dealings with McGilded by then, so I spared nothing in my arrangements 2 months ago. I knew exactly who to hire. You're willing to pay the price. There are people in this city willing to do anything you ask. McGilded himself had shown me that. Are you saying that? I think you have the picture now. After he twisted everything to his favor in this courtroom, to ensure that he walked free, I took matters into my own hands and delivered the justice that monster deserved. There we go. This all adds up now. That tragic accident following the trial here 2 months ago was planned and executed by yours truly. Gil's death that day was caused by this man. Yep. Oh, is that him? Is that him in disguise, maybe? I wonder if he was a bailiff in disguise there, or if it was someone he paid. Bribed the bailiff. So that policeman who came to tell McGilded he could examine the omnibus again. That's right, an imposter hired by me. Yep. McGilded used his wealth to manipulate the trial. He paid people to adulterate the omnibus with all manner of false evidence. He threatened witnesses to lie in their testimony. So I gave the man a taste of his own medicine. Once the omnibus was doused in paraffin, one of my sham policemen ushered McGilded inside and sent him on a one-way journey to hell. There we go. An eye for an eye. That's how I avenged my father's death.
A spine-chilling account indeed.
But that wasn't the end of it for me. Man, he's telling us everything. This is great. There was a loose end, you see. Loose end, the disc. Yes, I should think it's obvious. The second disc, which my father had taken to exchange with McGilded.
Ah, yes. There was indeed no mention of it in the man's trial 2 months ago. Clearly because it had been removed from the scene of the crime.
When I realized it was missing, I remembered something. Something from the first time I dealt with McGilded. Yeah, look at this. This is the first of the 2 discs and the music box you need to play them. Well, look at that now. What an ingenious little invention. So then, as promised, 10 guineas for you, young man. What is this? Windibank's pawnbrokery? Aye, 'tis a pawnbrokery's ticket, so it is. You can use it to redeem an article I've deposited there for you. There's no need to give it in, just hand over the ticket and tell the fiend the watch worth. I put a jewel in pawn for you. It'll fetch a good 10 guineas if you sell it, so it will. I've never heard of a pawnbrokery being used in quite that way before. Have you not, Mr. Graydon? London's pawnbrokeries are very useful places, you know. Each one is like an extremely secure vault. There we go. Can't believe they're turning this Graydon into a tragic character. You know? So I knew that if he'd taken steps outside the disc, it would be in that pawnbrokery somewhere. And that on the night he killed my father, he must have entrusted the ticket to someone. Yes, to Gina. I remember now that when we first met you at Windibank's afternoon 2 days ago, you had a description of Miss Lestrade written down. How did you know who you were looking for? From the trial, that pickpocket testimony was clearly peculiar, anyone could see that. I realized immediately that she was another of McGilda's pawns, and he must have threatened her somehow. I was fairly convinced it would be her who had the ticket, so I started to make some inquiries. I had a strong suspicion the girl would come out of the woodwork on the redemption deadline. He was absolutely right. And yes, sure enough, she did. All I needed to do was to wait until the girl went to Windibank's to redeem the articles. But unfortunately, she redeemed only McGilda's overcoat and the one disc that was in its pocket. The all-important music box with the second disc inside was missing, because it had already been forfeited 2 days earlier. But I was unaware of that fact. Had I not been, I could have avoided my nighttime excursion. Meanwhile, as our investigation into the stolen government secrets was progressing, we picked up on the fact that McGilda was involved. Inspector, you've recovered fast. My orders were to recover the stolen information as quickly as possible, so we started gathering the fellow's possessions and examining whatever we could lay our hands on. We had a full-scale investigation going on at the yard, but we had to keep it quiet as we could. Then, when the inspector here took the disc from me in the pawnbrokery that day, I became nervous. I was sure the music box and the second disc were still there in the shop somewhere, so I knew that it was a race against time. I had to find those articles before the police did. So that's what prompted you to break into the place that same night. With the help of your old friends, the Skulkin brothers. Everything adds up. What happened that night in the pawnbrokery? I can only describe as a nightmare. While Nash and Ringo were searching the counter, I'd located the music box I had sold to McGilda on the shelves of forfeited articles. And the second disc was inside. Yes, I slipped it into my pocket with a very deep sigh of relief. But then, something entirely unexpected happened. Yeah, Windibank came out. A gunshot rang out in the shop, and I felt a sharp pain in my left arm. The broker fired his gun, and the bullet pierced your limb. Yes, exactly. But unfortunately, I decided to bring my own gun with me that night, just in case. Yeah. Yep. Still not sure how Gina passed out, but maybe she just passed out from shock. Before I knew what was happening, I'd fired back. The man had already turned to flee. I hadn't intended to fire in his direction, much less kill him. But unfortunately for both of us, the bullet hit home. Struck him in the middle of his back as he fled through the storeroom door for refuge. A sorry tale. It all took place in the blink of an eye. I don't imagine Nash and Ringo even realized what had happened at first. I was terrified, so I fled. And that's the whole story. That's everything that happened at Windibank's on that wretched night. There we go. We got it all together. Not guilty, baby. Nailed it. I love this image. I love this moment. It's so good. I love the way everything has seemed to come together. Man, this is a long video. I'm so sorry. It's just that we've had so much momentum. Earlier, you called McGilda a monster. A man who used his wealth and influence to distort the facts and escape justice for the crime of murder. What tragic irony, for what you have done is exactly the same. You've become the very monster you saw and despised so deeply in McGilda. Yes, I think I have. Great.
Well, this has been a long and exhausting trial. However, it would seem that at last we have arrived at the truth. Inspector Gregson, what of Mr. Ashley Graydon?
He's been restrained, my lord, and is being escorted to the yard. He'll be charged with the murder of Mr. Winnebank and the stealing of government secrets.
Very good. And you, Inspector. Regrettably, you will have to face charges yourself.
Yes, my lord. Of course. It transpires that you are complicit in helping a criminal escape justice. That fact remains whether or not you are doing so in the line of duty. The crime is a serious one, Inspector, and inexcusable.
Now to the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade.
Yeah.
It is time for the final adjudication. Is the jury ready, Mr. Foreman?
Yes, sir. Guard up, man is ready now. The last push, the final call, the finishing whistle. My men are ready to deliver their verdicts.
Thank you, Mr. Foreman. Very well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You will now declare your final decisions for the court.
Not guilty.
There we go.
Not guilty.
There we go.
Not guilty.
There we go.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
There we go. We did it. I love the way the guy headbutts the surgeon. Man, this was a long case. That's the stuff. I'm off the hook. Finally, Runo, you finally managed to do it. Finally is the word. I really wasn't sure if we'd come out on top for a while there. Susie was right. You're the best lawyer in the world.
Miss Lestrade, I am not finished with you yet.
Eh? What are you looking at me like that for? This is for the perjury, isn't it?
Before you start enjoying your freedom, there are certain other crimes to consider.
Eh?
2 months ago in my courtroom, no less, you gave false testimony, did you not? In relation to the trial today, not only did you unlawfully enter Winnebank's pawnbrokery, you also attempted to abscond with Mr. McGillicud's property, it seems.
Yeah. I never done nothing of the sort. That was McGillicud's voice, I'm sorry. Of course not, it's not like you were gleefully wearing McGillicud's coat in your cell yesterday or anything. Aw, and just when I was getting excited about throwing a party for Ginny this evening.
Returning our attention to the defense. Determining that, when played together, using boxes scanning message in Morse code was, well, it was certainly a most unexpected revelation, counsel.
Quite so, my lord. The prosecution was caught entirely off guard. In fact, I think we should applaud my learned friend's courage here today. I propose a toast. What a guy. To demanding that government secrets be disseminated before the entire courtroom. Very sorry about that. It was the only way that I could get Inspector Gregson to admit to what he'd done. So, if I may say something. Oh, isn't that? It's about the sounds produced by the music box before. I do wonder if that was really Morse code at all. What? What are you saying, madam? Oh, well, it's just that I'm really rather fanatical when it comes to Morse code, you see? So much so that the whole world seems to be covered in dots and dashes to me, in fact.
Goodness, madam, may I know the level of obsession one feels?
I must say that in my opinion, the sounds produced by those two discs were nothing more than that. A meaningless series of two different tones. What? Can that really be? Was it Morse code after all? Interesting. My lord, the defense would like to listen to the music box again. Are you off your nut? How many times do I have to tell you? Those discs contain ministerial secrets, Sunshine. This courtroom is not an appropriate forum to discuss the nature of the government communications. We know McGillicud conspired to trade national secrets with our enemy, secrets acquired from Mr. Graydon. Now that the man has admitted to his crimes, we have no need to pursue the matter further. But it's really going to bother me. This bothers me too. Actually, I had no idea.
Miss Lestrade.
Yeah, me lord.
That which you have seen here today in this courtroom has been extremely disturbing.
Falsified evidence, intimidation, perjury, a grim catalog of depravity.
An appalling experience to befall any child.
So you gonna let her off the hook? Come on, it ain't nothing I don't see no most days in the back slums.
I beg your pardon.
If you're weak, you pay for it. That's just how life goes. Gina. Well, look, I reckon I've worked something out today. The world ain't fair, but if you want it to change, you've got to start at something. You gotta change how you are yourself. So right.
Well, that's a very laudable lesson, I would say. I eagerly look forward to the born-again Mrs. Straw never gracing my courtroom with her presence again. Now, with regard to the murder of Mr. Pup Windibank, proprietor of a pawnbrokery business on Baker Street, hereby declare defendant Miss Gina Lestrade.
Let's go. We did it. Confetti, of course. That's the last case of this first half of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. I imagine we have a little bit of post-case stuff, maybe. But I don't know. But we have basically 2 videos worth of material here. But it's going to be condensed into one.
As all court is adjourned.
Great. Great. Oh, is it just us two? This is odd. Why did we stay here like this? Interesting. On a personal note, I must say you've surprised me, my Far Eastern friend. Oh. Despite being a Nipponese, you saw through the pretense to the malice that festered within that Englishman, and at the same time saw through the grind to the surprising heart of your English client. You have a curious talent for judging character, especially considering our very different cultures. Thank you. I don't think there's anything curious about it. Whether we're from the Empire of Great Britain or the Empire of Japan, we're all human beings. We're not so very different on the inside. You know, I took this case for one very simple reason. To lock swords with you once again, here in the courtroom. You did? When I encountered you for the first time 2 months ago, it reminded me of toasting friendship and trust with another Nipponese, only to find my trust betrayed. He was betrayed by another. Through you, I hope to look into the eyes of the man I once knew and try to understand. Oh, twist. You mentioned something similar earlier today, about your total betrayal at the hands of the Japanese. What happened exactly? Well, you may ask, and one day, when the time comes, you will learn the answer, whether you like it or not. Well, I guess that sort of explains his racism, even if it's not right. Alright, then I'll wait for that day if I must. Coming to be known as the Reaper of the Bailey, and my retirement from service 5 years ago, gives me cause to wonder if our meeting has some deeper purpose. Why would you do that? It's just us. So, very well, my learned Nipponese fellow. Until we meet again. Dude, I'm obsessed with Van Zeeks. What a guy. What a legend. What a goat. Hope I don't live to regret that. Man. So we're about halfway through this entire game. That's good. It's done. It's over at last. But where's Iris disappeared to? Ah, congratulations, Gina. I knew it all along. I knew that you were innocent. That's right. Well, you did what you said, Mr. Naruto. You believed in me, right up to the end. You're as odd as your name. What's odd about it? Told you I had faith in you, didn't I? No one's ever asked before, see? Kept a promise, I mean. Properly. That's awful. I figured something out today. All me life growing up in the slums, I've never trusted no one. That's just because I've been scared of being stabbed in the back. I mean, the more you trust someone, the more it hurts when they let you down. Yes, I think I can understand that. After all, I had a taste of it in that trial 2 months ago. I chose to trust someone. Paid for it. That betrayal left a big scar. You know though, Gina, I worked something out quite recently too. Trusting in someone else is really an exercise in learning to trust yourself. And when your gut tells you it's the right thing to do, and you trust it's rewarded, there's no better feeling in the world. I think I have you to thank for reminding me of that valuable lesson. Oh, well, if you say so. Don't make a fat lot of sense to me, though. I'm trying to say that putting my faith in you, Gina, has been a real pleasure. Aw. For crying out loud, pack it in! But I suppose I sort of feel the same way. I mean, sometimes trusting someone else is, alright. Thanks. There we go. This is the way I see it, Ryu. A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. That's right. After this experience, I'm starting to feel like I understand what you mean. Zuma, am I living up to your expectations? Am I turning out to be the lawyer you believed I could be? Oh, what? That voice! Is this? Oh yeah, you can see his hair. I've been standing here, patient in the corner of the room for an eternity. Haha, yes, it was me all along, I would have said, finally you noticed me. You people with your incessant babbling. Mr. Sholmes? Ahaha, yes, it was me all along. What a nerd. What does he have to say? I'd assumed you'd been taken back to the hospital, to be honest. Indeed I was, but I managed to escape again. Oh. I happen to be aware of one or two foibles of the doctor who was tending to me. I merely made my knowledge of them known to the man, and he happily issued me with a leave of absence. I'm very above board. But enough of my adventures. That was a fine victory, Mr. Ryu. Your tireless efforts justly rewarded, I feel. I get tongue-tied. Congratulations are in order. As a close friend, I tip my hat at you. Oh, thank you. Oof. Some great detective you are. Great at being cold as ice, maybe. Have I irked you in some way, Miss Lestrade? While you've been having a snooze in your soft bed, someone's been fighting for our lives. Ah, well, that bullet did cause me to lose a substantial amount of blood, it's true. So I have indeed been feeling somewhat cold. Not perhaps as cold as ice, but, well, will you have a feel? Could you take your hands off my neck, please, Mr. Sholmes? And, in some way, I suppose, congratulations are in order for you too, Miss Lestrade. What's that supposed to mean? Why I so half-hearted? Well, naturally, it isn't my intention to alarm you, but an acquittal in a trial with that particular prosecutor is perhaps a little precarious. Well done, Mr. Sholmes. Not alarming in the slightest. Oh, the Reaper, you mean? Because anyone who's found not guilty in trial he was working on winds up dead anyway. Is that it? The very point I was trying to make, as exemplified by the fate of Mr. McGill did in fact. Ah, but of course, I pay no attention to such irrational drivel myself. Alright, yeah, well, it don't bother me. Oh, really? Of course not. The way I see it, the Reaper's a bit like I'm upstairs. I'm upstairs? You mean, like, God? Yeah, him upstairs know what's what, right? He knows what people are like on the inside. He won't have got the wrong end of the stick. There are some coves like that bog charter what are rotten to the core. At the end of the day, I'm upstairs to make sure they get what they deserve. I suppose that's one way of looking at it. Divine justice is one thing, though. The Reaper taking matters in his own hands and claiming lives is another. Well, I ain't like the McGildas of this world, so I ain't scared. I got principles, see? There we go. A trait in you which is to be admired, Miss Lestrade. Boy, just give her a rest, alright? As I was saying, congratulations are in order. The news of your acquittal was very welcome news to me indeed. Let me express my heartfelt congratulations, Gina. Well, oh my god, people keep coming in. This Iris. Holy moly. Honestly, I went to the main entrance especially to meet you there. Ah, Iris, my dear, I do apologize. But wait until you tell what happened. I tell you what happened. This pair made utter fools of themselves. What happened? As you know, I have a penchant for disguise. I was hiding in this room dressed as a bailiff. But these dolls didn't notice my presence at all. Ha! They had no idea. Can you imagine, Iris? Would you credit it? I'm not sure, really. I beg your pardon. I'm sorry, Hurley, but you just don't have the weighty presence you seem to think you have. Oh, she's pulled it. She's messing with him. In fact, you really ought to be careful about that. It's going to land you in trouble one day. Aw. I'll be careful. Ouch. Anyway, it's such a shame. I was so hoping to throw a party for Ginny tonight, but you won't be able to come, will you? No, look like I'm gonna be going nowhere for a while. You are the judge's Pata. I got stuff to make amends for, apparently. All them offenses. What was again? Breaking and entering, taking the dog chart of stuff, what was in the lug, blah blah blah. Yes, I think you'll find that basically being a pickpocket is the main offense. Not even ain't an offense, it's a job, isn't it? I don't think so. Still, that's just got me thinking all this. Maybe I should start looking for another line of work. I mean, you didn't start off as a lawyer, did you, Otto? Well, no, but I was never a pickpocket. Dude, she'd be fun as a lawyer, huh? Well, anyway, I reckon I can make a change. I'm gonna do something for a lot like me from the slums. Something that makes a difference for him. Yeah, that's a wonderful idea, Ginny, and I'm sure you can do it. What is it? Oh, she's crying. Oh, brother. Nothing. Oh my god, more people. Yeah, she's going to prison. Prison time. Right. Well, looks like I'm off then. Yes, goodbye, Gina. Dude, what if she dies? What if she dies on the way to prison? Otto. Yes? Oh no. Why'd she do that? What was that for? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say, so... Ah, indeed. Perhaps the situation calls for a phrase hitherto missing from your vocabulary, Mr. Strahd. On occasions such as this, I would recommend a simple thank you. Oh. Oh yes, that's good advice, Ginny. Right, I see. Well, say it. Say it. Say it. Oh man, a new animation. Thanks, Otto. There we go. That's what we like to see. A smile and tears. We see the tears. Oh, that's so nice. Thank you for everything, what you've done, for believing in me. Oh, that's lovely. That's the best. Not at all. In fact, that should be my line. Thank you, Gina. Oh, that's so nice. There's more. Well, there she goes. Wonder if I'll ever see her again. Well, well, quite the indomitable pig purse. Oh, I nearly forgot. I bought a paper outside. It's a special edition, and this trial is all over the front page. Pickpocket's innocence proven. Isn't it wonderful? Should have shown it to Gina, Iris, but that was a really fast paper. Oh no, how silly of me. But anyway, would you like the good news or the bad news? Oh, not again. Well, what do you say, Runo? Hurley? As usual, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way first. Absolutely not. I have no intention of listening to anything but good news. And there you have it. How people answer that question says a lot about them, doesn't it? Let's not go there. Alright then, maybe let's start with the good news this time. The rain has finally stopped. It was a record level of rainfall, apparently. Oh, brother. Well, that is good news indeed. We can journey back in greater comfort. Alright then, what's the bad news? The huge storm has left the seas very choppy. The channel in particular is awful, so sailings out of Dover have been delayed by a day, so Sasato's still here. Wait, Dover? That's right, if we head to the station immediately, we may still make it in time to wave Susie off. Well, that's great. But, there won't be a train, surely. We couldn't be that lucky. Who do you think I am, Mr. Ryu? Mr. Sholmes? I rushed to Victoria Station earlier and made arrangements for a special express. We hurry now, we shall be there in time for dinner. And I know of a fine restaurant that serves the most delicious baked sole. Oh, Great Detective does it again. Indeed he does. I happen to be aware of a number of the rail transport director's foibles. I merely made my knowledge of them known to the man, and he happily laid on the locomotive. Elementary. Just an idea, but it might be wise to stop manipulating people that way. What are we waiting for then? To London, Victoria! Great. Oh man, there's more. We're gonna stop here. We're at 2 hours. We're over time. We're gonna stop here. We're gonna finish up this game next time. Potentially start the next one. We'll see. But, oh man. It's so late. We're at Investigation Part 5, Port of Dover. That's all I got. Thank you so much for watching. It's so late. Make sure... I had so much fun, by the way. I'll speak more on it next time. Make sure that you take care of yourselves. Make sure you take care of others. I'll see you next time. Peace out.